Honor killings. In the Arab and Muslim worlds, the practice where someone is killed by a family member in order to defend the family's honor remains a big problem. In Jordan, 2 honor killing cases were reported this month alone, and a journalist there has received high praise for her coverage of these honor killings and has even written a book about the subject. Let's bring in our senior editor of Middle East Affairs, Octavia Nasr, who joins us live from the newsroom with more. And it seems that she has her beat only on honor killings, so it has to be extremely widespread, Octavia.
It is, and as a matter of fact, this one reporter really created the beat of honor killing. Back in '93, when she started reporting on the story, she was a judicial reporter for the Jordan Times. Her name is Rania Husseini. She's someone who really put the idea that people should be looking closer at honor killing, if it's right, if it's wrong, how governments should step in and protect women from the practice. So yeah, definitely Rania Husseini wrote a book about it. Of course, that earned her a few threats on her life, and she continues to do the story. The problem with honor killing is that the first story that Rania Husseini and the last one that she worked on are similar. They're the same. They're usually women that are killed by a family member, killed because the family believes that their honor was tarnished, and the only way to cleanse that honor is through blood, by killing the woman. The last case last week, a woman who was about 28 years old. She was 5 months pregnant. Her husband decided to send her back home, and her brother decided that his sister is seeing other men, and therefore she should be killed. So notice there is no evidence here. It's just doubt. The brother goes out and stabs her to death. He turned himself in on Sunday to Jordanian authorities, and he's charged with murder.
But how does the media respond to it, Octavia? Do publications usually take the side of the man, like in this case?
Not really. Usually media stay away from the story. This is considered a private story. They stay away. That's why someone like Rania Husseini, that's a very, very unique case of someone who decided she cannot be quiet about what's going on. She takes definitely the side of the women who are the victim in this case, and she tells their stories. But you know, a story like this, you're not going to see much discussion about it on television, or you're not going to read much about it in newspapers. And the only reason why the focus is on Jordan is that there are people like Rania Husseini and others who are highlighting these stories. I'm going to show you this cartoon. It's a political cartoon by a very popular Jordanian cartoonist. But basically it's a father and son, and the father reminding the son, just remember, and the son says, no worries, I remember everything. Borrow the gun from my uncle, shoot my sister, bury her body, dump her fetus in the swamp, and then meet you at the curb to go to jail. So basically, this is the political cartoon. It's a very sobering reality that's coming out of Jordan, saying this is how those cultures, basically it's a tribal mentality. This is how they think. They think it's a duty. They carry it out as a duty, and they're very proud of it. Then they go to jail. They say, okay, I did my duty, cleanse the honor of my family, now I can go to jail.
Yes, because this took place in the Bedouin heartland of southern Jordan. So would you say this is, I mean, based on your description of the cartoon, almost accepted?
No, no, no. It's basically explaining, criticizing. It's critical of these cultures that basically take it as just a daily routine. No problem. He knows exactly what to do, and at the end of the day, go to jail. Now, very important. That point about going to jail is important, because usually those families. And before I continue, let me make sure our audience understands that this practice is not exclusive to Jordan. this is a practice that spreads beyond Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, the Gulf region, and even it crosses borders. It goes as far away as Europe and the United States. So basically, this is more cultural than religious, and the culture takes this practice with them. The only reason why we don't hear about them is that they're disguised. So the families will say, oh, it was an accident, but indeed it was murder, in order to cover up or cleanse, in their words, cleanse the honor of the family. Now, going back to your question, in Jordan, what happens is they choose a family member to commit the murder, basically to cleanse the honor of the family. And they, for the longest time, they've been choosing juveniles to carry out these attacks because the law is easier on juveniles. Also, there is something in Jordan that allows for juveniles in jails to learn a profession, to continue their schooling until they're released later. And anyway, even the guy who turned himself in on Sunday, don't think that he's going to be spending the rest of his life in jail, although he is charged with murder. Once he appears before a judge, he's going to say that what motivated him is the honor of his family, and the judge is going to definitely give him an easier sentence. Now, go back to what you were asking, is this a tribal thing? This is very small. The majority of the people in Jordan will be opposed to honor killing. They totally don't accept it, but this practice continues in these small tribal societies, not just in Jordan, but across the Middle East. And like I said, they cross over to even the United States and Europe. But they are practiced by people who still believe in the old tradition of a woman carries the honor of the family. So what are these crimes that we're talking about? If a woman, for example, has extramarital sex, if a woman engages in a premarital sex, that is considered an offense that deserves to be killed for.
Wow.
And like I said, sometimes you don't even need the evidence. It's just the suspicion or the rumor of something like this happening. But anything that can be perceived as soiling the honor of the family is reason for someone to go out and kill a woman.
Well, it seems like obviously this is still happening, and they're getting more calculated about it, how to get the most leniency when they're being tried for it. Is there anything, just to wrap up, is there anything to do to stop it?
A very good question, and this is what the people who are fighting for women's rights in the Middle East and across the world, they're trying to figure out what can be done. I'll tell you, something's changed. Before 2000, Jordan, for example, didn't put people in jail, didn't call it murder if someone killed to cleanse the honor of the family. So they changed the law basically to call it murder, and if someone commits it, then they're tried and sentenced, and then they get punished for it. So that's at least a change. Now what's going to happen is that they need awareness. They need to promote this heavily on television, in newspapers, explaining to people that this stigma doesn't really exist anymore, but in the heads of a few, of a minority. But this is what it needs. It needs education, needs public service announcements. It needs people to go out there and discuss. And when you think about it, the reason why we can't do a story on this, or it's very difficult to do one, is that the video is not available. People are not comfortable going on camera talking about it. But when you think about it, Nicole, the aftermath of something like this is the tragedy in those countries and in those communities, because we do know from people who interviewed the families, we do know that there's a lot of suffering. We do know that the sisters, the mothers, the children, in this case this woman has 5 children. What's going to happen to them? What kind of effect is this murder having on the rest of the family and on even the people who carry out the crime? So those who carry out the crime sometimes say that they feel remorse, they're very sad that they did this, but they believe that they did it for the good of their own family. Right,
it seems like a catch-22. You need more media attention, but they don't want to go on the media, so it's a difficult story to tell. Octavia Nasr, you have done it. It's a horrifying story indeed. Senior editor of Arab Middle East Affairs. Octavia, thank you.
Thank you.